Okay, welcome to today's lesson, which is volume and surface area of spheres and hemispheres. So, first of all, it's worth getting just stuck straight in with what the formulas of these are. So, if we've got a sphere here like this, now take note this is a sphere, not a circle. So it's a 3D shape, like a ball. We know that the radius here is from the centre to the edge. You might want to shade this in if you're copying this example into your book. Remember, you must make sure you're copying all of this into your books or into your notes. It's you can only learn maths by doing it. And then the volume of this is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. And the surface area of this is equal to 4 pi r squared. So the volume, which is the shape, this shape in space inside it, is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed, and the surface area, which is the what you have around this sphere, is 4 pi r squared. So, if you want to find the volume of a hemisphere, what we should be looking at here is halving this, because it's basically cut in half, looking at this one here. However, the surface area is a little bit different. So the surface area of this, let's just go back. So let's get down our first example. So example 1, and it's asking for, make sure you're getting this in your book. Example 1, it's asking for the volume and the surface area of a hemisphere with a radius of 3. So to draw a hemisphere, you draw like a flattish oval like this. And then you draw a line over like that from the centre to the edge. And we're saying that this distance here is 3 centimetres in this case. Okay. Now the volume is quite straightforward. So we use the volume of a full sphere, which in this case is 4/3 pi r cubed. So the volume of a full sphere, which is equal to 4/3 times by pi times by r, which in this case is 3, cubed. So that's the volume of a sphere, which in this case you can put straight in your calculator if you want. You can do it without a calculator by doing 3 cubed, which is 27, divided by 3, which is 9, times by 4. Well, I'm going to put this in the calculator. 4/3 times pi times 3 to the power of 3 is equal to 36 pi centimetres cubed, because it's volume. So if I want the hemisphere, then I need to divide this by 2. So it's going to be 36 pi divided by 2, because it's half of that, which is equal to 18 pi centimetres cubed as well. So that there is the volume of this hemisphere. Now the surface area is a little bit different, and this is the one that we need to focus on really. So with the surface area, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we are finding the area of the full thing. But then if you notice, when you cut this in half, you can't just divide this by 2. You have to find the area of this circle as well. So if you think about it, you've got the sides, or like the curved part of this sphere, and then you've got the bit that you've chopped off, which is this circle on the bottom here. So you need to find the curved part, but you also need to find the circle as well. So if we find the curved part first of all, so here we've got our surface area. Underline that. Let's move this up a little bit so you can see. So we've got our surface area first of all. So the surface area is equal to the 4 pi r squared, which what we used before, So 4 pi times by r, which is 3 squared. So 4 times pi times by 3 squared, which is equal to 36 pi centimetres squared. Now this is the total surface area of a full sphere. Okay, now this is all of the, imagine if you had a football, it'd be everything you can touch on that football. That would be the surface area. Now because we want this hemisphere, what I've got to do is I've got to cut this in half, but that only gives me the curved part on top, so it only gives me this curved part here on top. So the way we'd write this is curved area of the hemisphere is equal to this 36 pi divided by 2, which is equal to 18 pi again. Centimetres squared, because it's area, remember. So that's the curved area of the hemisphere. The bit which is missing, and this is the important part here, the bit which is missing is this bottom part here. So we've got the curved surface area by working out the top, but we also need this bottom circle here. So I'm going to literally write here bottom circle. And the bottom circle, the area of a circle is pi r squared, which in this case is pi times by 3 squared, which is equal to 9 pi centimetres squared. So with this one here, to find the total surface area, it's going to be the curved area of the hemisphere plus the bottom circle. So it's going to be 18 pi plus the 9 pi, which is equal to 27 pi centimetres squared. Okay, 27 pi centimetres squared. So it's the curved area of the hemisphere plus that bottom circle as well. And a lot of people mess that up. You can't just halve it like the volume. You have to do the curved area and the bottom as well. So, moving on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this big for you. I want you to have a go at both of these. I'll give you a little hint with this. The difference with this one here, the first one, is that you know the diameter here. So make sure that you are halving that to start with your radius, which would be 5. And with this one here, this height of the sphere is exactly the same as if it was the radius of the sphere. So the radius of this one is 2 meters. Okay, so pause there, have a go at those yourself. And I'm not going to go through both of these, so I've unpaused now. I'm just going to go through that first one. So I'll just go through this first one and then I'll release the answers for both of them. So here we've got our hemisphere, like so. We've got this one here, which is 10 meters in this case. So I'm going to use the volume, which is 4/3 pi r cubed. First thing I'm going to do with this is my diameter. My diameter is equal to 10 meters. My radius is 5 meters, so it's only half of that. So the volume is equal to 4/3 pi times 5 cubed. 4/3 pi times 5 cubed is equal to 500/3 pi centimeters cubed. But that's the volume of a full sphere. Remember, if I want the volume of a hemisphere, I need to halve this. So it's going to be this answer here, divided by 2. So divided by 2, which is equal to 250 over 3 pi centimetres cubed. So that's that first one. Brilliant. Now this next one is the harder one, the surface area. So remember, I'm going to use the formula, which is 4 pi r squared. But when I halve this, I only get the curved top part. So I need to add on that circle on the bottom. So the surface area is equal to 4 pi r squared. In this case, 4 pi times by 5 squared, which is equal to, it's going to be 100 pi, but I'll do it anyway, 4 pi times by 5 squared, which is 100 pi centimetres squared. So this is the surface area of the full sphere. So now what I need to do is I'll work out the curved part of the hemisphere by dividing by 2. So curved area of the hemisphere is equal to 100 pi divided by 2, which is equal to 50 pi centimetres squared, again because it's area, it's the area of that curved area. And then the last little part here is that circle on the bottom, which in this case is equal to, so the circle is equal to pi r squared, that's the formula for the area of a circle. So this is equal to pi times by 5 squared, which is equal to 25 pi centimetres squared. So now, if I want the full surface area, it's going to be the curved part of that hemisphere plus the circle on the bottom, which is equal to 50 pi plus the 25 pi, which is equal to 75 pi centimetres squared. There we go. Absolutely spot on. So I will release the other answers for those, just so you can see them. You should have had to go those yourself. Okay. We're going to do one more type of question, which is really important actually with these questions, because usually what we do is combine a lot of these questions together and then we have to work backwards of this. So this is kind of the one which is quite important. So here it tells us the volume and it's asking us to find the radius. So working backwards again. So volume is equal to 268.08 centimetres cubed. I've got my sphere and I'm trying to find the radius. So with this one, with any question where we're working backwards, we write down the formula, sub everything in, simplify, and then we solve it like a normal equation. So let's write down what our volume is for a sphere. So the volume is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. Let's sub in everything I know now. Then the only thing I actually know in this is this the volume, which is 268.00, is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. So now let's solve it. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this divide by 3. I'm going to get rid of that by timesing by 3. So it's going to be 268.08 times by 3, which is equal to 804.24, is equal to 4 pi r cubed. The next thing I need to do is get rid of this 4 pi. Now that is just a number. So to get rid of all of this, I'm dividing both sides by 4 pi. That will get rid of that. So I end up with this divided by, now you notice that I'm just doing this here, divided by 4 shift pi, which in this case is equal to 63.999 recurring. So I'm just going to round that. I should have probably checked that first, to 64, which is equal to r cubed. Last little part, how do I get rid of this cubed? Well, I get rid of the cube by cube rooting both sides. Cube root, the inverse of cubing is cube root. That will get rid of that. So that we end up with the cube root of 64, which is equal to r. So how do I type that on my calculator? If you're not sure, the cube root button is here above that square root button. You can also use this one here if you want something of a higher order. So we've got the cube root of 64, which in this case, r is equal to 4 centimetres. What example was that? I think that was example 4, I think. Get that in your book, okay? Remember, the only way to learn maths is to do it, okay? I'm going to keep hammering that. You need to make sure that all these questions are in your notes. So, I'm going to put another one on here. There's another 2 on here. So, I'm just going to give you a second to pause, have a go at those yourself. I'll make the screen big. So if you've paused that, hopefully you will have got those right. I'm going to pop the answers up for you. So there's both those answers, 8 and 9. I've also got some other questions for you. Now these ones are a little bit harder. So have a go at these questions. There's 5 there, all gradually getting quite difficult. So pause now and have a go at those questions. Okay, I'm going to put some of those answers up. See if it works. Quick check. Give me 1 second. There we go, working now. I'll get these answers up for you in 1 second. There we go. Okay, there's the answers to all of those. Make sure you're marking those in green. They are quite tricky ones though, so make sure you take your time with them. And have a wonderful day. And thank you for watching this video, and have a wonderful day.